Hi weaving friends. Today's video is a little bit different and a little bit more informal, but that is very purposeful as I'm going to explain. Usually I only make videos on my good days. I only show up on social media on my good days, and on my bad days I just sort of hide away and do what I have to do and wait to feel better. So today is actually a bad day for me. It's not a horrible, terrible day, but it's a bad day in terms of my illness, that I'm really tired today and that I'm just not feeling that well. And so normally you would never see me on a day like today. Lately for me on the internet, and especially on social media and YouTube, I'm a little bit tired of the fake, if you know what I mean. I'm a bit tired of seeing people polishing everything in their lives in order to come across in a very polished, perfect way. When you know that behind the scenes that it's just not the case, and that a lot of people are struggling with all kinds of things, and it's just not a good representation of real life. And so today I decided to show up a little bit more real for you, because I am tired of the fakeness, but also because it's really relevant to what I actually wanted to talk to you about today. So how you see me today is no makeup. I've washed my hair, but I haven't done anything with my hair, so it's a bit of a mess. And this is just me on a fairly regular day. And I think maybe some people feel like they're going to be judged if they don't show up on the internet in a certain way. Or maybe some people, women in particular, feel like they're not doing their best for their audience if they don't show up in that really manicured way. But I feel like we've come to a time where it's more important to share what's in your heart and to help others and to just be a little bit more realistic. So the reason I wanted to make this video in the first place was I got an email a couple of days ago from one of my viewers here actually, and she was asking kind of a series of questions about weaving in general and wanting to weave, and having a desire to have a floor loom or maybe a table loom, and just not being quite sure about what was going to suit her circumstances the best. I'm just going to be weaving a little bit while I'm chatting to you. I'm working on a new class, and normally I wouldn't be working on a class or anything much at all while I'm having a bad day. But I wanted to push on and at least do a little bit today, because I think ultimately that will help me feel better at the end of the day, knowing that I've at least put in a little bit of time on it. So anyway, yeah, we were chatting about chronic illness and weaving, and I thought, wow, that's a relevant topic for me, and it's not something that I've talked about a lot. I have a little bit on this channel, but not a whole lot, because I try and keep things really upbeat and inspiring here, but at the same time, as I said, I do have that desire to just be a little bit more real. So what we were talking about was, I said to her that on the days when I'm having a bad day, I just don't weave. And I might not do anything creative. I might just do like my absolute baseline kind of, need to get done things. And just not worry about weaving. It's more about accepting and recognizing that I'm not my best today. There's nothing I can do about it, and I just really need to rest and do quiet things. So on days like that, you can still be creative. An example would be to have a little lap loom, tapestry loom, a small rigid heddle loom, a frame loom, and to have that on your lap while you are, resting in a recliner. You can even, there's a bunch of looms that you can have in bed. I've done that a heap of times, taken a little loom to bed with me, an Inkle loom sometimes, depending on whether you feel like sitting up or whether you feel like lying down. Okay, so if you feel like lying down, or if you need to lie down, then the ways to be creative is to maybe store up some inspiration for when you feel better. So that could be watching YouTube videos, it could be reading blog posts, watching documentaries, things that, you know, things that are going to teach you, inspire you, and make you feel enthusiastic about the next time you can do something creative again. And not to feel bad about the fact that you're not doing something physically creative at that time, but just recognizing that you will feel better, you will have days where you will be able to do those creative things. And so use that time to sort of charge that creative energy that is still there and wants to be used, but just accept that that's not the day for your body, your mind to be doing that kind of activity. And of course, besides weaving, there are other things that you can be doing in your lap, like knitting is so portable, so is crochet. There are all kinds of creative things that you can do while you're resting as well. I sort of have my separate activities that I consider my restful creative activities, and crochet is one of those for sure. So another thing that I was speaking to this viewer about is to, if you're looking at getting a new loom, or you don't have a loom yet, or the loom that you have, you're finding it difficult to use, I think this is one of the keys to ensuring that you are able to weave with a chronic illness. So that even on the days where maybe you don't have a lot of energy, maybe your body's aching, whatever it is, but you don't need to be in bed, like you're not that bad, then on those days you want to be using something that is kind enough to your body that you can perform repetitive actions, like you see me doing here with the rigid heddle. Now, for some people, what I'm doing here, it might be too much. Operating these two heddles with a pickup stick, it's possible that that could be too much. So the trick is to finding what are you going to be able to do given your situation. Now, I was talking with this viewer quite specifically about a floor loom, but I think this applies to any loom that you want to be weaving on, that it has to suit your limitations. Now, when I say limitations, there are limitations everywhere in life. Don't get into that mindset of feeling sorry for yourself because you can't do something because of some physical, mental limitation, whatever your limitation happens to be. There are ways that you can move towards what you want to do and achieve your goals with your own specific limitations. I'm quite convinced of that. So for example, we were talking about floor looms, and she was asking me specifically about my David floor loom and about the treadling. Is the treadling difficult? Is the treadling light? I was really recommending the David as an excellent floor loom because the treadling is so light. The only time that the treadling will be a bit heavier is if, say, you have to tie up more shafts. There are some patterns where you might have 7 out of 8 shafts tied to one treadle. That's a little bit heavier to treadle, but that's the only time, and that's kind of rare. A lot of the time I'm treadling 4 shaft patterns and I have no more than 2 shafts tied up. Even that being the case, if I wanted to, I could do a different kind of tie up so that I'm pressing on more than one treadle at a time, and that would make the treadle even lighter. So you see there are adaptations, there are things that you can do. You have to think around and find the best ways for you. So with the David, the treadling is incredibly light compared to, say, this loom behind me, which is a big, old, heavy countermarch loom. And really at this point, I'm not weaving a whole lot on this big loom because it is a little bit hard on my body. Going forward into the future, I'm hoping eventually to be able to have a dobby loom, which will mean that I press on the treadle, but all of the shafts are tied up with a dobby at the side. And you can have either a mechanical or an electric dobby. I'm only interested in mechanical because we have so many electrical outages here. and also because I like mechanical objects over electric. But that is the kind of floor loom that a lot of older weavers are going for these days, because it is so much lighter on your body and you're not getting down to tie up those treadles, and a few of those steps are eliminated, and then the weaving is a little bit lighter as well. So for me, I'm only 47 at the moment, but considering my back issues and my chronic illness, I think that would probably be the best way for me going forward. Perhaps in a few years. Those kind of looms are very expensive, so I will have to see about that. But the point is that doing that, having that type of loom, would allow me to continue to weave as I age, and that's really important to me. It is really the best thing if you can try out a loom before purchasing. I know that's a very hard thing to do. I bought my David loom from the internet, and it came over from Holland, and I didn't get to try it, but I did do a lot of research first because I wanted to make sure that I made the right decision, and I definitely did with that one. The Louet looms are designed to be light treadling, and I think that they're really easy to use too. They're kind of made in a minimalist sort of way, and they're fairly light depending on which loom it is, but my David, which is a 90 centimeter weaving width, is a very light loom. Like, I can just push it across the floor. I couldn't hope to do that with this loom, but I do feel that light kind of minimalist design is very easy on your body to weave. The same viewer also asked me my opinion on a table loom for her situation. And I encourage her to steer away from that idea, because a table loom, I think, is far more fatiguing on your body than a floor loom. Now, you might not necessarily think so, but here's the thing. With the table loom, whether you're seated at it or whether you're standing, you're always reaching out, reaching for the levers, reaching to pass the shuttle. And there's nothing happening down here in the lower body. With the floor loom, your whole body is working together to make the cloth. And that's something that I really love about floor loom weaving. But also, it distributes the work over your body. So you're moving the shafts with your feet instead of reaching to levers. And then all your arms are doing are passing the shuttle. So your shoulders are kind of staying at a lower level. And I know for me, that's much kinder on my body, that I get sore in the shoulders and the neck and everything if I'm using the table loom a lot. But for other weavers, the table loom will be ideal for their situation. So these are the kind of things that you just have to weigh up, and if possible, to try out different looms, because there are some things that you're not going to know about your loom until it arrives and you've set it up. So this is a bit of a messy video today, but the two main points that I wanted to make are: you can weave if you have the desire. You can find ways. You can tailor to your own situation with your own needs. And the second thing is to give yourself a break, like not just a physical break, but literally give yourself a break. Don't be hard on yourself. It's not your fault if you're not well enough sometimes to work at your loom. It's okay. It's not wasted time. It's time that you have spent regenerating and refreshing for the times that you can. I used to feel so bad when I had to spend a day in bed, or I had to spend a day lying on the recliner, because I felt like I just wasn't being productive and I wasn't contributing and all of those negative kind of things. But I've turned it around and I've made it a positive thing. When I'm resting, I'm investing in myself, and that is going to pay off going forward. And if you have a lot of bad days, not very many good days, then try to be really grateful and thankful for the good days and enjoy those days as much as you can. I would love to keep this conversation going. I want to hear about your situation and how you make it work for you. I want to hear about how your attitude helps you to overcome the unpleasant parts of your illness. And also, if you are struggling with a chronic illness and you have specific things that you're not sure how to get past, or you're having particular problems with your weaving because of your illness, let's chat about those in the comments down below too, because there are so many clever people here with all different experiences who can help. They can read your comment, they can share what has worked for them. At the very least, you can just share your experience and know that you're not alone. Okay friends, I'm about to finish up here because I think I've probably done enough on this one for today. And I might switch over to my smaller tapestry loom and give that a little bit of time and see how I feel after that. I hope you have a super great day, whatever you're doing, however you're feeling. And until next time, happy weaving.